Every MCU movie has a final battle, some great and some bad. Today, I'm going to be ranking all 23 MCU battles from worst to best, and I'm ranking these on how original they are, the visuals, and of course the fighting. Let me know your top and bottom 3 final battles in the comments below, and let's get started. So coming in at last place at number 23, we have Iron Man 2. Really, this is just too similar to Iron Man 1, but worse than Iron Man, and Rhodey does join the fight. It's just Iron Man suits that lack emotion. There's nothing in this scene that's really special to anything, and the lighting really doesn't help because it is just dark all over the place, and like I said, it just lacks any real character or emotion that the first movie's battle had. Coming in at number 22, we have Thor the Dark World. If you have a boring villain and the final battle revolves around him, it's going to be a little hard for it to be a cool battle. Once again, the colors are bland, and it's just really not entertaining fighting, even though you have Thor, which you think it would be cool, but it's just kind of boring and bland. Number 21, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp. This is more of a chase sequence than a final battle. Although I do enjoy it, I really just can't put it high because there's no real final battle fight scene that gives you that payoff. But like I said, I do enjoy this final scene, but it's just really not a battle, so it's going to be lower. Number 20, we have Black Panther. This is just underwhelming for the final fight with some of the worst CGI in the MCU. This doesn't count against it, but I really think they should have kept Killmonger alive because of how good of a villain he was. Number 19, we have Thor. Although Loki is one of my favorite characters, he's really not a match for Thor in any of these movies. Plus, the big robot, I think it's called the Destroyer, isn't exactly the greatest boss fight. Nothing really bad here, but it's just nothing great either. Number 18, we have Captain America, the First Avenger. This is just a lackluster final sequence that has nothing special to it. The fighting is pretty boring and standard, and the standout moment is the Peggy scene at the end, which technically isn't even a part of the fight sequence, but I'm going to count it as a final battle because it is right there in the final scenes of the movie. Number 17, we have Incredible Hulk. This is just a good-old-fashioned boss fight. Even though the CGI and lighting isn't the best, for its time it's pretty good, and it's hard not to have fun with two brawlers just going at it, destroying things, and brawling at each other. And this is before we had the hero fighting an evil version of himself, MCU thing that we have now. Number 16, we have Iron Man. This is just another hero fighting the evil version of himself, like I just mentioned. But it's still a cool sequence with a ton of fun to watch Tony use suit in battle like this for the first time. And honestly, Tony has tons of character himself. So him and Obadiah have some good banter, and there's some cool sacrifices that happen in this scene, so it's just a cool final battle, but after the stuff we got later in the MCU, it just doesn't really compare. Coming in at number 15, we have Guardians of the Galaxy. There's nothing really bad that I dislike about this battle, really, and there's a great sacrifice, and the dance battle scenes, of course, great, but for some reason, nothing about this really sticks out and makes it really higher than anything else on this list. Like I said, it's not a bad battle at all, and there's some really cool scenes, but just everything above it I just think is a little bit better. Number 14 is Ant-Man. Back at it again with the MCU villain formula, but I think you're lying if you say that seeing Ant-Man and Yellow Jacket fight on a mini train set with Thomas the Tank Engine and all those little things in there isn't one of the coolest looking fights in the MCU. Once again, with the villain though, him and Ant-Man never interact before the fight, so there's really no connection or deeper impact there. It's just kind of these two villains and heroes that are same as each other pretty much fighting. Number 13 is Captain Marvel. Just like the whole movie, the lighting is pretty awful in this final battle, but it is very cool to see Carol finally unlock her true powers and just destroy everyone. But at the same time, she's not in any danger because of this, and there's no doubt that she will destroy absolutely everyone on the ship. And really, you don't feel like she's gonna lose at any point. There's no backlash or anything against her. There's a little bit of a scene with the scrolls that you maybe think something's gonna go wrong, but for Carol herself, nothing really goes wrong in this, and you gotta have a little bit of back and forth. You can't just win everything in the final battle for the hero. Also, just a girl playing is a bit too on the nose. Number 12, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This is without a doubt one of the best looking MCU fights, while also being one of the funniest. The only thing I think is the jokes kind of derail some of the serious moments in this final fight, which could have had more. But like I said, as just a funny scene, this is funny as you're gonna get for the MCU final fights, but I kind of wish there was a little bit more serious moments. But like I said, the CGI is amazing in this. Number 11, we have Iron Man 3. Seeing Tony and Rhodey sneak around the docks and having all the suits come into battle is the most Iron Man you can get. There's also some good scenes with Pepper here that foreshadow her battling in Endgame, and it's just a fun fight scene that makes up for the kind of lackluster villain who I have to admit does have some pretty cool powers. Number 10, we have Doctor Strange. Just going off the effects alone, this battle is amazing. That's really what earned it its spot at number 10 here. It's one of the most fresh and inventive final battles I've ever seen, and it relies more on the brains rather than the brawn in this, so that is another cool, fresh take. And it's just, like I said, I've used this word a couple times here, but it's a fresh final battle in kind of a movie that follows the MCU formula. It breaks away from that in its ending scenes. Number 9, we have Avengers Age of Ultron, one of the best showcases of the Avengers working as a team, both physically and mentally, with the sacrifice and blowing up Sokovia pretty much. Well, it is just a little faceless army again, like the first Avengers. It just doesn't feel quite as special as that first movie. That's why it's kind of lower here. But Ultron is one of the most underrated villains, in my opinion, and the Quicksilver death brings the emotion up a ton. I honestly think this battle was heightened by Civil War, explaining all the aftermath. But like I said, it's just not up there with the top Avengers, but it's definitely a fun, great battle with all of them fighting, and it definitely deserves a spot in the top 10. Number 8, we have Spider-Man Homecoming. Peter holding onto an invisible plane is already badass enough to make this in the top 10, but the fact that he has to push himself to the absolute limit with just a regular homemade suit with no extra powers, just him and his actual powers, it really seals it here in the top 10. You really get to see the kind of guy Peter is, as he ultimately just wants to help Tony and the Avengers, and he wants to help Vulture in the end by trying to save him from his own mistakes and from killing himself, which luckily he doesn't die. He'll probably come back. Tony or Peter might regret that, but that's okay. Just a great battle that means more than just the fight that's happening. At number 7, we have Thor Ragnarok. This battle keeps the same energy as the rest of the movie, while raising the stakes and making the emotion shine through. The visuals are simply amazing in this battle, and seeing Thor overpower Hela and destroying everyone is a ton of fun and amazing, you can't lie, if you're saying that's not a great scene. Plus, it ends with the sacrifice as Asgard as a place, and a great sacrifice always heightens a final battle. At number 6, we have Captain America, the Winter Soldier. There's a huge battle with S.H.I.E.L.D. aircraft carriers and trying to save millions of people, but the real beauty of this battle is between Steve and Bucky. The emotion feels so real, and you see Cap not willing to give up on Bucky after all that's happened. Cap almost dies because of his choice to save Bucky, and then Bucky returns the favor by saving Cap. But the fight scene and when Cap says, "I'm with you to the end of the line," I think that's one of the most powerful quotes and callbacks in all of the MCU. It's just such a powerful scene, and you really see Cap's true character that keeps coming out in later movies for the first real time here, and how serious he is about his ways and his beliefs in people. Bringing us into our top 5, we have Spider-Man Far From Home. Some people might not love the drone part of this, but I think it's a creative take on the fight, and it's kind of fresh and reinventing. We also get to see Spidey sense in action as he tries to get back once and for all to stop him for all his lies and what he's done to Peter and the rest of the world. But like I said, even though I think that last scene there with the Spidey sense is the best part of this battle, Spider-Man going through all the drones and stuff and figuring out all this isn't real is one of the coolest sequences visually in the MCU, I have to say. But this movie and this final fight is definitely heightened by the fact that Mysterio is most likely still alive and reveals Spider-Man's identity to the world. So even though Peter won the battle, Mysterio really won the war in this one. At number 4, we have the second Avengers movie on this list, but that is actually the first Avengers. This is the perfect mix of quips, awesome powers, the quotes are so memorable, and there are some amazing team-up moments with one of the biggest sacrifices in the MCU at the time. There's really not much else I can really say, but if you've seen this movie, you know why this final fight is here. It's just so much fun, the emotion's there, and like I said, there's just some of the most comic booky moments in this scene. At number 3, we have Captain America Civil War. After the airport fight, it was hard to see how the final battle could be any better, but it becomes so real and personal, and that's what makes it great. Emotion makes this, but the actual fighting is amazing too, with Tony and Cap just relentlessly beating each other, perfectly showcasing each of their abilities. It's truly an amazing scene, and the visuals once again are so cool in this. While it's just simple, it's not like, any huge CGI battles or aliens or monsters or anything. Just these two going at it with their powers is amazing. Our runner-up on this list is Avengers Infinity War. Do I need to explain why this is at number 2? Probably not, but I will anyways. We basically get 2 fights for the price of 1 in this final battle, and both are incredible. The smaller scale fight on Titan is visually stunning and so creative, while the Battle of Wakanda shows the true war that's happening. Both scenes are great, and Thor's entrance to Wakanda is one of the best scenes in the MCU. Thanos overpowering and outsmarting everyone is a fresh take from the heroes always winning, and it's satisfying, even though some people thought it's a cliffhanger, but I think this ending is super satisfying, and you finally see the Avengers lose, and it feels so real. You can see that they're not used to this, and the first time they actually have to deal with this real loss. But coming in at number 1, this shouldn't be any surprise, we have Avengers Endgame. This fight has everything you've ever wanted. It starts with the big 3 going at Thanos, which showcases just how powerful Thanos really is, while still giving you the fan service moments such as Cap getting to wield Mjolnir. Then you get the amazing scene of everyone coming through the portals, which leads to one of the greatest scenes in any movie ever. You get a scene to showcase everyone's powers once they're back, plus the intensity of trying to carry the Infinity Gauntlet through an entire army. You get the emotional moments too, with Peter reuniting with Tony and obviously Tony's sacrifice. And they also managed to work Captain Marvel in perfectly without having to nerf her powers, which they really do by showcasing Thanos again, and his brute strength and his IQ is just above everyone else as he outplays her. And they also have their classic MCU comedy sprinkled in, but it just all works and it's natural, and some stuff with Peter Parker and stuff. Just funny moments happening in this huge intense battle. This final battle is unforgettable and will never be topped. So let me know, what do you think of my list? Like I said, comment maybe your top 3 and bottom 3 final battles, because commenting all 23 is a bit much. If you want to explain it, you can. If not, that's fine too. Just leave your list. Let me know what I should rank in the next video, and check out the videos that are going to pop up on screen right about now, and I will see you guys in the next video.